Hello everyone, how are you doing? So today I'm just going to share one interesting event that has been happening around Twitter and in particular with Vercel. So if you don't already know, Vercel is a front-end cloud, build, scale and secure, faster, personalized web. It's basically a serverless platform that enables you to quickly push your content and even projects done with SSR, like using technologies like Next, Nux, Azure, etc. very quickly. And for example, you can configure it to use your repo and a branch and a specific branch, and you put your environment variables, and then at a click, when everything is built successfully, you can immediately deploy it on the web using Vercel hostname, but I think you can quickly and very easily pinpoint your domain name so that you have an application running easily and freely as well. So I think the free version is pretty nice, and lately I would say for the past maybe not 4 years, but 2 to 3 years, I've seen a lot of people using Vercel in the front-end world, but in the JavaScript world as well. But recently there were some issues about the pricing. For some people, it skyrocketed for 20x. So if they paid $20 per month, they suddenly had to pay $300 or $400, and some others had to pay even more. So of course, it depends how you build your system and the way you scale with lots of traffic. But the key here is that some people wanted an alternative. So it's just for a quick side note, Vercel is bridging the best of client and server rendering, experience seamless integration, optimize performance and reduce. So it works well. So I've used it previously for my blog posts. I'm seeing, so I usually blog technical stuff in it, for example, how to fix PostgreSQL connection to server fail, so a nice puffy background. So yeah, I usually do that. And for some reason, at some point, I needed to update my server, so I used Ghost CMS, Content Management System. And there was an update going to MySQL Server 8 version. And in this version, which is quite interesting, though it brings a lot of new things, that you have support, for example, having a property having JSON attributes. You can put JSON in a field, which is really interesting. But there are even a lot more. So my blog as a result was broken and I couldn't access it for some time, so I needed to figure it out. I didn't have this time to fix it though. So what I did was quickly build a landing page. It is still on my GitHub page actually. So I did that, and I use Vercel, and I deployed the landing page on Vercel. I went on Cloudflare, and with Cloudflare I just pointed the domain name to Vercel, and it worked like a charm, and I did all of that in maybe 30 minutes or so. So that can be an interesting solution as well. So just like the options, the alternatives that you have. And talking about alternatives, we are going exactly to do that. Let's say you don't want to use Vercel, you can use a VPS. A VPS means a virtual private server, and of course they are not cheap. They are cheap, but they are not free. And sometimes you want to pay something that's better than free. So let's say for some reason you don't want to use Vercel, you want to use a VPS, you can do so, because you have more control as well, because you have an actual server. So the whole thing comes from Heroku actually, which provided a platform as a service. More than a decade ago, you created an application, let's Ruby on Rails, you created a Ruby on Rails application, and you could configure it to deploy immediately on Heroku with all the environment variables and the database settings, and you were having your application online for people to test within minutes, if not seconds. So that's a bit the same notion for Vercel. So for the remaining, I will give you a few solutions that you can use instead of Vercel that helps you with deployment, and of course others that just give you a VPS and you do everything yourself. But of course, there are technologies that help you do CI/CD. Not only, let's say you are using Docker, but let's say you use a Ruby on Rails application and you want to be able to deploy the application at a command. You can use tools like Capistrano, for example, to do that, or you can use Docker as well. But let's say you want something similar to Vercel. Here I got you covered. First is Fliders.io. So it transforms containers into micro VMs that use on our hardware in 30 plus regions on 6 continents. So this is quite interesting. It's used by a lot of companies, including Supabase, Asana, Mailgun, and Ghost.com, Curso, Apollo. So some quite interesting companies, teams. And so here we have an example. We'll deploy straight from your source code. You will up and running in just minutes. We install it on fly. Then we are going to launch it, and then here you go in the region. So you have more information here. Mid-fly machines. I think you need to use Docker though. I don't know. But this one, for example, I think you need to understand Docker. I'm not sure itself. I've not used it yet. But it seems quite interesting. In terms of the pricing, let's see. I hope it's not super expensive, but I've heard a few people using it. So we have a hobby plan. I think it is free, but we just need a free trial credit. I don't even understand what is it. Do you need a credit card? No, I don't think so. But you have a hobby plan, and then you have. So it seems all right. Started fly machines. You have a VM that is priced $5, so it's quite interesting, to be honest. It's not expensive at all, so I will leave it to you. Then we have another very interesting solution, which I think will be relevant if you're using Vercel and you want a switch. So Railway is this platform, and it is huge. It has so many templates you can use. Start a project, and I actually use it, but I actually considered using it to launch a Ruby on Rails application with minimal overhead, and this is it. This was something that I saw a couple of times, but I know some people on Twitter who use it religiously, and it seems very powerful. You have everything that you need. You have environment, here you have your rollback, so it's very powerful. Another interesting alternative to Vercel. In terms of the pricing, we had it here, it's $5 per month, which is really interesting because that's the price for VPS in most cases like DigitalOcean and Ultra and some others as well. We have the Pro and Custom settings. So maybe this one is or might be the preferred solution for replacing Vercel. You can check it out. So there are a couple of others of similar platforms, but I won't go into it. You just can look into it or by going into Google and checking, for example, Railway.app alternatives or Vercel alternatives. But if you want to host your VPS traditionally, you have DigitalOcean. My blog here is hosted on DigitalOcean VPS, so it's $5, very affordable. But notice a few things through the years. I have had it for 4 or 5 years, I can't even remember. But sometimes, let's say for some reason I have a lot of traffic, so it's possible that the VPS is down. And it can also be the fault of Ghost actually, because I use Ghost CMS. Oh, I just missed it. So yeah, it might also be the fault of Ghost CMS, I don't really know. Well, I've never really taken the time to look deep into it. So it's nice, it looks really nice as a blog, as a content provider and manager. MS, it's Ghost is really an alternative to WordPress. So and let's look at the last one, Hetzner. I don't really know how to pronounce that. Hetzner. So Hetzner gives you can have server, you have dedicated servers which are quite expensive, but then you have a complete server for yourself, please, what I think. And you have managed servers, you have cloud-based, a lot of things. So for VPS, I think it's this one, but flexible cloud servers might mean elastic and so on and so forth. So basically, I think you need to look into it, but it's more or less the same price for Hetzner VPS, like $5, a good solution. But of course, we didn't mention something interesting, and it's just simply you can use cloud providers like AWS, Azure, and let me just add it here. You can use also cloud providers like AWS, you can use Azure, you can use Google, and I think these are the three most popular. So you can also use that. The pricing is different, and I don't know how expensive it is. But what I do know is that a lot of companies like 37 Signals have switched away from cloud providers, and they are using their own systems, they're using, for example, Hetzner, who is the creator of the framework of Ruby on Rails. So he created a library to do it for you, deployment tool. Camel, here is it. So you can use a VPS and use Camel to do your deployments and hosting as well. But I think you need to understand at the very least how Docker works, because I think they use containers, which is using Docker. So more than ever, if you're looking into web application, I recommend that you Docker, even the basics, because it's very interesting. Find it out. Azure uses it, you can use Camel and so forth. So if you need more information on Docker, so don't worry, I'm not trying to sell you anything. You can check on YouTube, there are an infinite stream of Docker content for you to learn. So I hope that this video has been useful. See you later.